Okay, so my name is Ermelinda Cespedes, and this is my final application project, Mind Frames of Belonging, Identities, and Equity. So for the overall project, I examined the cultural component of the core Head Start program and reevaluated how we currently engage our pre-K students in Yupik language and cultural learning. Traditionally, the culture block has consisted of a 10-minute activity in which students are given a coloring page with a Yupik word printed on it, as seen here. Teachers pronounce the word, ask students to repeat it, briefly explain its meaning, and then allow students to color the page. While this provides minimal exposure to the Yupik vocabulary, it does not fully support deeper cultural understanding, meaningful engagement, or the development of students' cultural identities. So to create a more purposeful and culturally grounded experience, I redesigned the week's cultural lessons by integrating a hands-on sewing activity as an important traditional skill taught in the Yupik class at local 12 school. Sewing holds a deep historical and cultural significance for Yupik people, especially in the Norton Sound region, where surviving the harsh winters required and continues to require expertly crafted hand-sewn clothing. Project goals. So these were the goals for the week. Day one, we were going to trace and cut out hand-shaped mitten patterns using construction paper. Each student was going to trace their own hand onto construction paper, and this would ensure that the mitten would fit them. Um, Day two, we're going to use the paper mitten as a template to trace the shape onto felt. Day three, we're going to the students cut out their felt mitten pieces. And day four, they were going to stitch the two felt pieces together to complete the mitten. The process. Monday, November 10th, students traced their hands in the shape of a mitten on construction paper and cut out their pattern. This created a measurement tool that they would use throughout the week. Tuesday, November 11th, students used their paper templates to trace their mitten shape onto two pieces of felt. This step introduced them to the importance of accuracy and measurement. Wednesday, November 12th, students cut out their felt pieces, practicing scissor control and precision. Thursday, November 13th, I prepared the materials by punching holes around the edges of the mittens and taping the ends of yarn to serve as child-friendly needles. Students then sewed their mittens by weaving the yarn in and out of the pre-punched holes. You can see here on these pictures the pre-punched holes, the tape that works as a needle, and then students stitching their mittens. So, reflection. This sewing project was highly successful both academically and culturally. Students learned the value of precise measuring and cutting, as those who traced or cut inaccurately ended up with mittens that might have been too tight. Those who demonstrated careful attention and detail created mittens that fit comfortably. Additionally, the stitching portion of the project strengthened fine motor skills, which is critical for early childhood development. Beyond academic skills, this project deeply supported the mind frames for belonging, identity, and equity. So we're going to hit on belonging. Students participated in an activity which is rooted in the cultural practices of their community. By engaging in a shared cultural tradition, students experienced a sense of connection to their peers, ancestors, and community identity. Creating mittens together fostered a classroom environment where cultural knowledge is valued and celebrated. We hit identity because many students here in the pre-K classroom are Yupik or come from Yupik families. Sewing traditional items helps young children to see their culture reflected in the curriculum and support their positive cultural identity. Even for students who may not be Yupik, the activity introduced them to the traditions of the region where they live, increasing cultural awareness and respect. We touched on equity because, unlike the previous coloring page activity, this project offered an equitable learning experience that did not rely heavily on language proficiency. All students could participate meaningfully through hands-on learning. It also elevated Indigenous knowledge as valid and important academic content, ensuring that cultural learning is not treated as an add-on, but as a central valued component in education. So, reflecting on this project, it's clear that implementing a culturally grounded sewing activity in the pre-K classroom significantly enriched students' learning experiences while promoting belonging, identity, and equity. This project aligns strongly with the Alaska Culture Standard A. Culturally knowledgeable students are well grounded in the cultural heritage and traditions of their community. By giving students hands-on experience with a traditional Yupik skill, the project helped them gain a deeper appreciation for the ancestral knowledge and practical arts that have sustained their people for generations. One of the most impactful outcomes of this project was the high level of authentic engagement demonstrated by students throughout the week. From tracing their mitten pattern on the first day to sewing the final stitches on the fourth, students remained excited and focused. The project also allowed students to experience success in a way that built confidence and pride. Each student produced a tangible, culturally relevant item that they could take home and share with their families. This homeschool connection is critical. When students bring home something connected to their cultural heritage, it validates both their classroom learning and their family identity. In addition to cultural outcomes, this project supported important developmental skills. Students practiced measurement, tracing, scissor control, sequencing, hand-eye coordination, and fine motor precision while sewing. Perhaps the most meaningful success of this project was how it strengthened students' sense of identity and belonging. Children saw elements of their culture reflected in the classroom in a way that honored the knowledge of their ancestors. In conclusion, this sewing project demonstrated the power of culturally responsive education in early childhood classrooms. It created an equitable learning experience where all students could participate meaningfully, regardless of language, background, and prior knowledge. It supported Alaska culture standards, strengthened cultural identity, fostered belonging, and established connections between home and school. Most importantly, it allowed students to proudly create something that honors Yupik heritage, something that they could hold, wear, and share. This experience affirmed that when curriculum reflects culture, values, and traditions of the community, students not only learn better, they thrive. So, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Hope you guys have a great day.